Hello everyone and welcome to Changeling Gaming. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to play The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride is a level 2 pick up and play game for 1 to 4 players that takes on average an hour and a half to play. Relive the cult classic movie The Princess Bride by taking control of the characters and playing through various arcs from the film. From falling in love to the fire swamp, to revenge and to the pain, you can enjoy the story from its beginning to its sweet, satisfying end. Simply inconceivable! Setup. At the start of a new game, separate all the story cards, the cards marked with love, intrigue, courage, revenge, and adventure, from the special cards, the cards with a quote from the movie and text describing the effect of the cards. Shuffle the story deck and place it up on top of the storybook. Shuffle the special deck and place it to the right, and shuffle the green plot deck and place it on the left. Take the challenge completed counters and the replay counter and place them near the board. Give each player a reference card that runs through the turn order and action options. Each chapter has its own specific setup, but the general setup for each chapter is to shuffle the story deck, deal 4 cards to each player, and then place it back on the top of the book. Also, reshuffle the plot deck back together and reset it for the current chapter. Go to the timecode on screen for the walkthrough for each individual chapter setup, the details of which are also listed on page 7 of the rulebook. After setting up for each chapter, read through the chapter-specific rules on the left side and the chapter's challenges on the right side, so that everyone knows the specifics of the goals and rules for each chapter. How to play. Each player's turn has 5 steps, laid out on the reference cards. First up, the player can move one character 0, 1, or 2 spaces, or they can move 2 characters 1 space each. Second, the player can take the following actions in any order on their turn. Trading a single card in their hand for a single card in another player's hand. This trade can only happen once for a given player's turn. Discarding cards to move a character 1 space per card discarded. Spending a miracle to either draw 3 cards from the story deck or to draw 1 special card. Completing challenges by discarding the specific cards listed while also meeting any other conditions with the characters in the correct locations. If the challenge calls for any card to be discarded, then any story or special card can be discarded to satisfy that condition. Once a challenge is completed, gain any rewards listed in the reward section of the challenge, and place a challenge completed counter on top of the challenge. In addition, during this phase, any player may play a special card to help out. It doesn't matter if it is their turn or not. Third, the player draws 2 cards from the story deck. If the deck is ever empty, shuffle the discard pile to form a new story deck. The 4th step is where the game fights back through the plot deck. Draw the top card from the plot deck and reference the value in the plot table section on the lower left of the current chapter. If you ever run out of plot cards, the story is interrupted. If it is the first time a chapter is interrupted, flip over the replay counter to the grandfather's side and reset the chapter's setup, trying again from the beginning. A chapter must also be reset if the conditions outlined in the chapter rules section come to pass. If a single chapter is interrupted for a second time, then you have unfortunately lost the game, and true love has failed. The final 5th step is for the current player to discard down to 6 cards in hand. Play then proceeds clockwise to the next player. Once the final challenge in a single chapter is completed, that chapter is complete. Remove all pieces from the board, everyone discards their hands, and they shuffle the story deck back together with its discard pile in preparation for the next chapter. In order to acquire a miracle, you simply need to move any character onto the space containing the miracle, and you gain the miracle token without needing to expend an action. Players get to hold onto miracle tokens from one chapter to the next. Only by completing all the challenges through all the chapters can you officially win and allow true love to prevail. Chapter-specific setup and goals. For Chapter 1, place Wesley in the barn and Buttercup in the farmhouse. Place 1 chore token on each of the wood, horse, and well spaces, putting the remaining 3 on the list of chore spaces to play as needed by the plot deck. Add the miracle token to the star space. The goal is to fall in love, and have Wesley depart for his adventure without becoming overwhelmed by chores. Whoever most recently completed a chore goes first for this chapter. For Chapter 2, place Inigo, Fezzik, and Buttercup on the start space, and Vizzini on space 2. Add the ship S token to space S, and the ship M token to space M. Add the miracle token to the star space. The goal is to relive moments from the journey, while also eluding the mystery ship with Vizzini giving directions to Inigo and Fezzik. Whoever most recently was on a boat goes first for this chapter. For Chapter 3, place Inigo, Fezzik, Vizzini, and Prince Humperdinck on their portraits. Place Wesley on the start space, and place Buttercup on her portrait in the Battle of Wits challenge. Add the miracle token to the star space. The goal is for the man in black to win the battle of skill, the battle of strength, and the battle of wits, and escape with Buttercup before Prince Humperdinck catches up to them. Whoever most recently went hiking goes first for this chapter. For Chapter 4, place Wesley and Buttercup on the start space. Shuffle the 11 hazard tokens together and assign one randomly to each space marked with an exclamation point. Add the 3 wound tokens to the damage track with the exclamation point side up, and add the miracle token to the star space. The goal is to vanquish the horrors of the fire swamp and escape to the far end before the rodents of unusual size and the rest of the dangers deal too much damage to our heroic lovers. Whoever most recently saw a rodent goes first for this chapter. For Chapter 5, place Fezzik on the start space, Buttercup and Prince Humperdinck on their portraits in the Chapel Lane, Inigo on his portrait in the Fezzik Revives Inigo challenge, and Wesley on his portrait in the Where is the Man in Black challenge. Place one Brute Squad token on space 5, and the other on the Barracks space. Add the Miracle token to the Star space. The goal is for Fezzik to revive Inigo, who needs to recover Wesley, who needs to be brought to Miracle Max before the 3 head to the castle, all while preventing the Brute Squads from wreaking havoc and giving Humperdinck the time to marry Buttercup. Whoever most recently ate chocolate goes first for this chapter. For Chapter 6, place Fezzik, Inigo, and Wesley on the start space, and place Buttercup, Count Rugen, and Prince Humperdinck on their portraits throughout the castle. Place the 3 locked door tokens on the lock symbols, and place the confidence tokens for Wesley and Prince Humperdinck nearby. The goal is for Inigo to get his revenge, while Wesley goes to the honeymoon suite and defeats Prince Humperdinck. Whoever most recently visited a castle goes first for this chapter. Bookmarking the story. In between chapters of the story, you can take a break and return to the story at a later time. To do this, finish the current chapter, then place a bookmark in the book at the next chapter. Reshuffle the current story deck with all the special cards collected so far and set it aside along with all the miracle tokens you've collected but haven't cashed in. To resume the story, set up the game as you normally would, except you should keep the collected special cards in the current story deck. So prepare your wits, sharpen your sword, and prepare to fall in love once more with the Princess Bride. Have fun storming the castle! You'll need a miracle. If you have any questions about the game, feel free to post them in the comments below, or take a look to see if someone else has already answered it down there, and be sure to thank them if they have. If you want to learn more about what our ranking system means, check out this video here. And if you want to learn how to play more games, check out our playlist here. And remember, keep changing, keep gaming, have fun.